Radical Dems in the Senate attempting to stonewall President Trump's highly qualified Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh over Michael Cohen's guilty plea. But Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley is having none of it.
That's a very legitimate question, but not a legitimate position for them to take because they didn't raise the same issues when Justice Breyer was appointed by President Clinton, and President Clinton was already had a grand jury getting documents and papers from him. There's precedent to move ahead in a situation that isn't even similar to what we have now.
Hypocrisy in Washington? Never. Kavanaugh confirming hearings will begin as planned on September 4th. Joining me now, Harmeet Dhillon, attorney and RNC committeewoman for California, and Eric Beach, Great American Alliance co-chairman and Republican strategist. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Harmeet, I'll start with you. What do you think of the holdup over Kavanaugh? I mean, they make the case that, well, look, you know, President Trump's going to have things of personal interest potentially before the Supreme Court. So the idea is he's putting someone in there who's going to tip the scales in his favor.
Yeah, I think it's a big stretch, first of all, that President Trump's going to have anything of interest before the Supreme Court. He's halfway through his term, and stuff doesn't get to the Supreme Court that quickly. So that's number one. Number two, I think this shows the extreme desperation of the Democrats, because from the point of view of relative, extremism versus being mainstream, a Justice Kavanaugh is going to be a very mainstream justice. And so, they're not going to get a better justice than this out of a Republican president. And this is just delay and, desperation. They can't fight him on the merits, so they're fighting him in this illegitimate manner. I think it's unfortunate because Americans deserve a full Supreme Court that can hear these cases and make decisions for all of us. And if they had messaging and if they had something substantive to complain about, they would be focusing on that. They don't, so that's why they're reverting to this.
Eric, I mean, let me ask you the political question, because to me this seems like really dumb politics in the sense that what really energizes folks on the right to get out and vote? The Supreme Court is one of the main things. And the closer they take this confirmation to the midterms and beyond, it seems like the more it's going to get Republicans and Trump supporters of any stripe out to the polls.
Yeah, well, as a Republican consultant, I think for the Democrats, it's not dumb politics. Keep at it all day. But here's the reality, and I think Harmeet said it best, which is the messaging. They don't have a message to run on for the midterms. Their message has been all anti-Trump. But the problem that they have is that the substance behind this Trump presidency has been pretty darn good for middle-class America. So I think what they're trying to do is bring back abortion in some form as to run on some sort of social issue because they're a party in search of the correct message. I don't think it's going to work. It's going to play into the Republicans' hands.
Yeah. Well, I live in liberal New York City, so I'm constantly stopped by people who are crossing their fingers and praying for impeachment. And, they say, wow, it looks like they really got him this time. It's so close. Harmeet, I'll ask you, the latest wrinkle that we heard about today, the publisher of the National Enquirer is saying he's going to cooperate over those two women who traded in their stories for money. What does it say to you about the case they have? What are they going after there with him in particular? And what could he possibly say that would be damaging to the president from a legal point of view?
I think that what could be found in that vault, it could be embarrassing from a social point of view, but legally problematic, I don't see it, or even frankly politically. It looks, again, very desperate to be sort of rummaging through the trash to see what, the cat dragged in and put that in the public sphere. I mean, the fact that the president, had private settlements with people who were in his life is irrelevant in terms of his fitness to be the great president who is cutting taxes and doing all these other great things for America. So, again, smacks of desperation and shows a lack of substance on the part of the Democrats. If they had something better in terms of the jobs, economy, border, and national security, they'd be running on that. They're not.
Eric, from a political point of view, when we're talking again about turnout, which is what the midterms tend to be all about, they say that bringing up this kind of a story dissuades suburban women, that there are people that are likely to be closer to more independent or could be dissuaded from voting at all. And when you remind them about these kind of issues, if you remind them that the president is perhaps not a great husband, that it turns off people that might have gone out and voted to help him out. Do you think, I hear that argument from Democrats all the time. Does it hold water?
No, because they underestimate women. I mean, women care about the same thing as men do, which is a better business climate, which Trump is doing. They care about better jobs, which this administration is also performing on. But the reality is, again, it's overreach by the Democrats. This is not even a campaign finance violation. And so the president, as a private citizen, was being extorted, let's call it what it is. And if he reached any kind of settlement with them, he has a brand, the Trump brand. It just so happened to be during the election, but his job is to protect that brand. It's a global brand. And so that's all they were doing. This is something that happens every day in the course of business life. And that's what he did. And I think, again, it will not work for the Democrats.
Harmeet, can I ask you real quick and lean on your legal expertise for a second? So if this was a payment that was made by the publisher of the National Enquirer in order to help with the election and quiet down these stories, that's sort of a gift in kind to a campaign. It would be over the limit, or it would have been not disclosed. I mean, if they characterize it like that, does that spell trouble for the president? Is that a campaign violation?
Well, maybe, but there are a lot of ifs there, and it still doesn't spell legal jeopardy for the president. And, you know, I think that we have to look at this in the big picture of this being a unique president, somebody who was in business throughout his life. And like Eric said, I mean, I have reached settlements for clients similar to the ones that we're talking about here. You know, prominent people, rich people, successful people are regularly shaken down like this. So if this is the ordinary course of business for Mr. Trump, which I bet he's going to be able to prove if it comes to that, no, it is not a campaign finance violation, and that is just, again, another, you know, pie-in-the-sky fantasy by, you know, your New York friends you see on the street and what I see here in San Francisco. That's just not the way the law works.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I mean, the defense could become he's done this a bunch in the past before, so it had nothing to do with the campaign because it was long before he ever decided to run for president. That would be an interesting defense, but it sounds like it might work. Harmeet Dhillon, Eric Beach, thanks to both of you for joining us.